What's going on, YouTube? It is Trev. I want to talk to you today about AMC. I know we've really been talking about a lot of crypto in my first few videos, but I do hold a very small amount of AMC, and I used to hold, a bigger amount, not a big amount by any standards compared to how much I see some people have. I think I had like 80 or 90 shares. Okay, and I actually got into trading because, well, I can't say that. I got into trading before the AMC and GME thing, but I really started taking it seriously when the GME thing happened. And then, there was this AMC squeeze supposed to happen, and I wanted to get as much information as I could about that. So I really started diving in and learning a lot. And, I bought some AMC shares, and I was listening to everyone who was, I assumed knew better than me, who was telling me that, this was going to be the mother of all short squeezes. There were so many synthetic shares out there, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of synthetic shares that were going to need to be covered. And, if call options, different things created a squeeze, and that could turn into this big, huge squeeze where they've got to hurry up and cover these, otherwise they're going to go bankrupt, right? And you were going to have a MOASS. And I bought into it. I believed it, and I bought my shares. But as time went on, and I started doing my own due diligence, I started realizing that there was more fantasy and wishing that was going into this thing than actual reality or fact. And I know that you don't want to hear that. And in fact, if you're like a confirmation bias kind of person, you may as well turn this off right now, because you're really not going to like anything that I have to say about this, okay? So, feel free, click off, that's fine. But you're always going to get reality from me, from my perspective. And, I don't know everything, but, I do have an idea about things, and that's what I'm sharing with you. So anyway, I started seeing that, where are all these synthetic shares that they talk about? We can't show them, we can't prove them. They're kind of phantom shares, that we just assume are there, and we tell each other are there, and the number of them keeps getting inflated. And it's like, where are we coming up with these numbers? Are you just pulling them straight out of your butt? How do you, if you don't know how to find these shares, how can you come up with any number as to how many there are? It doesn't make any sense, okay? That and a few other things, primarily the price action, led me to believe that this mother of all short squeezes, or really any squeeze, wasn't maybe as likely as most of you cared to believe, okay? It ran up at one time, I don't know if you can, I think you can see this, I hope you can see this, ran up at one time to $72.62. And, we were all like, is this it? Is this the squeeze? I was excited, because if this thing went to $1,000 a share or $5,000 a share, some of y'all called for $100,000 a share, right? If it went to any one of those numbers, my 80 or 90 shares were going to make me a wealthy man. I didn't need to have thousands of them, okay? But it went up to 72.62, and then, as you can see from this chart, and this is the chart, the chart doesn't lie. This is a weekly chart. Here's the 72.62 peak. That was back in late May, early June, somewhere around there. And then it's just a shot down, straight shot down. You have a couple ups and downs, you know what I mean? But ultimately, I could draw a line from here to here, and from $72, actually back here, from $72 to today, it closed at $12.77. In the after hours, it's at $12.83. Okay. For a while, it hovered around like the $35, $37 range. And I mean, there was hope. Okay. I lost hope. Hope isn't enough for me to invest in. I need some evidence of something, and there was no evidence of anything. This price just kept going down, down, down. None of the catalysts that everyone said this is going to be it, this is going to be it, none of them came to fruition. It just keeps going down. And again, we have no evidence of anything. Now, Adam Aron, the CEO of AMC, he has said before in a tweet that, they had no evidence of synthetic shares or naked shares, whatever you want to call them, fake shares. And everyone turned that tweet around, and it was confirmation bias in full effect, and said, you know what, he all kind of excuses, right? One of the big ones was, well, he can't really say that there are synthetic shares, but you got to read between the lines of what he really means. And this is kind of what goes on all the time. Whenever something is said that might be in contrary to the possibility of this squeeze, well, what does that really mean? And you spin it around and you change it. And as soon as someone comes up with something, that sounds plausible, sounds good, even if it doesn't sound, even if it's half plausible, everybody grabs hold of it and says, yeah, that's what it is. And then you move on. We're going to hold on. We're going to hodl forever and ever and ever. We're apes. We're going to the moon. Okay. But you're totally ignoring anything that might speak to the contrary of a squeeze or of a MOASS. All right. I've said this before, if it goes down 12% today, nobody really talks about it. You'll talk about everything else. And then tomorrow, it just went down 12% today. Tomorrow it's up 5.5%. And that's all anybody wants to talk about. Oh yeah, it's on its way up. What about when it went down? Nobody wants to talk about that. Okay. There was another tweet that came out a while back regarding the number of shares that are owned by retail. And when an official count was done back in June, I mean, was it two Junes ago now? I think so, right? It was determined that retail owned 70% of the float, right? And that was good. That was great, right? And then there was a tweet that came out not that long ago that said something about retail ownership of the float in 90%. And you all read that the way you wanted to read it. And I think that you read it the way it was said, but you didn't like the way it was said. And so you spun it around to mean what you wanted it to mean. And I don't have the tweet in front of me. I'd really have to go back to try to find it. But basically what Adam Aron said was, if you exclude, whatever he said, like corporations and ETFs or whatever it was, if you exclude those things, then retail would seem to own 90% of the float. Now, those words are really, really clear. If you exclude means to minus, to take it out of the equation. So if you've got this much shares and this much of it is owned by, whatever he was talking about, okay? You have to exclude that. So now you have this much shares. And what he said is you have 90% of this much, okay? Now, I remember back then, I actually did the calculations. I found out what the percentage was of the different organizations that he was talking about that you need to first exclude. And once I figured out how much they owned, the percentage they owned, if you added that back in, then retail, and you didn't exclude it, then retail owned, I think it came out to like 81 or 82%. Now that was still, higher than the 80%, but this is like a year or so later, and we've gained a percent or two, but everybody jumped onto that 90%. We own 90%. Adam Aron said, we own 90%. No, that's not what he said. It's clearly not what he said, but it's what you wanted to hear, okay? And that's the problem with this play, is that you're going on emotion. You're twisting everything around, even everything that's pointing to there maybe not being a squeeze. You will twist it around so that you can keep this going. And I blame a lot of the YouTubers too, because there are a lot of YouTubers who have made their fortune pushing this AMC thing, this AMC theory of a MOASS, right? And it may have been a valid theory at one time, but as time goes on, it's becoming more and more clear that it's not so valid a theory anymore. And a lot of people have kind of gone away from it. They talk about it every once in a while. But some people are really still on it, and they're pushing it, and they're just all rah AMC and getting the community going and believing things that aren't necessarily true. Okay. Anyway, today, about 2.5 hours ago, Aron came out with another tweet. All right. Let me see if I can. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but if you got Twitter, you can pull it up. But I'll read it. This is from Aron, the CEO of AMC. And it says, inbound tweets ask over and over for a share count, quote unquote. AMC has done a share count 6 times in the past year. We know of 516.8 million AMC shares. Some of you believe the count is much higher. As I've said before, we've seen no reliable info on so-called synthetic or fake shares. Okay? These words from the CEO of AMC are clear and incontrovertible. They contain no ambiguity at all. I've read this thing like 10 times. There's no play on words. There's nothing missing. There's nothing, hidden in the message. If anything, what you can read from this is a little bit of frustration. He says, I told you guys before that we haven't found any synthetic shares, but you keep asking for this share count. Okay? So we did it 6 times. Now, a lot of you say that even after the MOASS, you're still going to hold AMC because you believe it's such a strong company with great leadership and all these things. But what? You don't believe that they're able or capable of doing an accurate share count? His team of, I'm assuming, professionals who are better at this stuff than you and me did it 6 times, he said. Now, he didn't have to tweet this. He didn't have to offer this information, okay? But he's putting it out there for your consumption, for you to know, so that you're not fooled. But his team did it 6 times. And if there were hundreds of millions of synthetic and fake shares out there, you don't think his team would have found some of them? They didn't find any. All they found was the 516.8 million shares that they are aware of, and they found no reliable evidence or info at all pointing to synthetic shares. Okay? This is the company that you believe in. Well, if you believe in them and you believe in the leadership, then you got to believe that they know how to do a share count. Okay? And that they're not missing anything. Now, even Trey, is in the response here or in the comment section asking Adam if he can release the information on these 6 share counts for the community to review. Do you think that you or anybody else in the community is going to uncover something that his team couldn't find? Really? I mean, how desperate are we getting for this? Aron, the CEO, said there are none. It's over. It's done, okay? Now, I know a lot of you aren't going to let it be done. You're going to keep going on with this, and you're going to twist it, and you're going to find whatever you can find to keep this going, and that's really, really sad, because you could be taking all that money that you have invested in this and putting it into something that might have a chance to actually make you money. This thing isn't going anywhere. I might have a bull run here or there, and I suggest that you really take Aron's words to heart, and he has no reason to lie to you. His team, I'm sure, is capable. If you believe that they're capable of running this company, you got to think that they're capable of doing a share count. Okay, just take the words as they are. All right, and factor that into your perspective. I know what you wanted. I wanted it too at one time, and I know that this has been a dream at this point for like a couple of years. That you're going to be a millionaire. Your life is going to change. It's just a matter of time. It's not going to go down. It's not going to happen. And those aren't my words. Those are the CEO of the company's words. Okay. And I don't, it's not fun for me to make this video. Okay. I wish I was making a video saying, hey, Adam Aron just tweeted that they found synthetic shares, but that's not the case. Okay. So I'm sorry. And if you don't like me anymore, it is what it is, but you're only going to get truth from me. That's all you're ever going to get. You're not going to get confirmation bias, and you're not going to get FUD either. And I know that that's what you want to call it, and that's okay. All right. So, maybe I'll see you the next one. Maybe I won't. Either way, that's fine. Take care, and I'll see you next time, hopefully. Ciao.